Starting with number 10, we have Kandahar, Mosque of the Sacred Cloak. The revered home of the Mosque of the Sacred Cloak and a city steeped in history, Kandahar sits at the crossroads where southern Afghanistan meets the mountains of the country's heartland. As the traditional seat of Pashtun power, it was the capital of the last Afghan empire during the years of Ahmed Shah Durrani. Today, the place is filled with beautiful mosques, shrines, and mausoleums dedicated to luminaries from the national past. People from all over come to see the curious inscriptions of the great Mughal invader Babur on the Chilzina view. This is located just on the edges of the city. Up next, we have Mazar-e-Sharif. The cobalt domes of the Great Blue Mosque shoulder their way above the skyline of Mazar-e-Sharif, glowing white hot under the scorching Balkh sun. Famed as the burial site of Ali bin Talib, the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad himself, it's a gorgeous array of Arabesque and South Asian architecture, complete with turquoise blue domes and gold-peppered minarets. However, Muslim history is just one aspect of Mazar-e-Sharif, because this city is also home to countless Greek relics, ones that found their way here with the coming of Alexander's armies in the 3rd century BC. Alright, and now we have Bamiyan. For lovers of culture and religious history, the Bamiyan story is a sad one. In ancient times, the place was known as a hub for Hindu, Buddhist worship, and it thrived with artisans, monasteries, and especially sculptors. In fact, the 2 giant statues of the Buddha that stood here were considered some of the most elegant 4th and 5th century carvings in all of Asia. The Buddhas of Bamiyan were 2 monumental statues of Vairocana Buddha and Gautama Buddha, carved into the side of a cliff in the Bamiyan Valley of the central Afghanistan. Now, this is 130 kilometers northwest of Kabul at an elevation of 2,500 meters. Through carbon dating of the structural components of the Buddhas has determined that the smaller 38-meter Eastern Buddha was built around 570 AD and the larger 55-meter Western Buddha was built around 618 AD. In March 2001, however, these great effigies were destroyed, causing international outrage and even prompting UNESCO to tag their remains to prevent further destruction. Coming in at number 7, we have the Minaret of Jam. The Minaret of Jam is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Western Afghanistan. It is located in a remote and nearly inaccessible region of the Shahar District, Ghor Province, which is next to the Hari River. The 65-meter high minaret was built around 1190 entirely of baked bricks and is famous for its intricate brick stucco and glazed tile decoration. These decorations consist of alternating bands of Kufic and Nashki calligraphy, geometric patterns, and verses from the Quran. Since 2002, the minaret has remained on the list of World Heritage in danger, under serious threat of erosion, as it has not been actively preserved through time. The circular minaret rests on an octagonal shaped base. It has 2 wooden balconies and was topped by a lantern. Its formal presentation has a striking similarity to the Ghazni minarets built by Masood III. It is thought to have been a direct inspiration for the Qutb Minar in Delhi, India. Moving on to Bandi Amir National Park. The breathtaking reaches of the Bandi Amir became home to the first ever national park in Afghanistan back in 2009. It's easy to see why too. Populated by no fewer than 6 individual mountain lakes, perched more than 3,000 meters up in the rugged peaks of the Hindu Kush, and forged by millennia of fascinating geological movements, the whole area is a wondrous place to behold. Hikers come in the spring and summer, when the temperatures are not an unbearable 20 degrees Celsius below, to wander and wonder at the cobalt blue waters of Bandi Panir and the Bandi Gulaman. Coming in at number 5, we have the Herat Citadel. So the Citadel of Herat, also known as the Citadel of Alexander, is located in the center of Herat in Afghanistan. It dates back to 330 BC, when Alexander the Great and his army arrived to what is now Afghanistan after the Battle of Gaugamela. Now, many empires have used it as a headquarters in the last 2,000 years, and it was destroyed and rebuilt many times over the centuries. This historic citadel was saved from demolition in the 1950s and was excavated and restored by UNESCO between 1976 and 1979. From decades of wars and neglect, the citadel began to crumble, but in recent years, several international organizations decided to completely rebuild it. The National Museum of Herat is also housed inside the citadel, while the Afghan Ministry of Information and Culture is the caretaker of the whole premises. And next we have Babur Garden. So laid out by the Mughal ruler Babur in the early 16th century and the site of his tomb, these gardens are the loveliest spot in Kabul. At 11 hectares, they are also the largest public green space in the city. Left to ruins during the war, they have been spectacularly restored by the H. Khan Trust for Culture, or the AKTC. The garden was laid out in the classic four-garden pattern with a series of quartered rising terraces split by a central watercourse. The garden is thought to have been developed around 1528 AD when Babur gave orders for the construction of an avenue-style garden in Kabul. Alright, now let's talk about the Hazrat Ali Mazar. Located in Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, this is a mosque which Sunni Muslims believe contains the tomb of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Sunnis regard Ali as their fourth rightly guided caliph, and they pay tribute to Ali's shrine every year. The site is also where many pilgrims annually celebrate Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year. At the annual Jahenda Bala ceremony to celebrate the first day of the new year, a holy flag is raised in honor of Hazrat Ali, and people touch the flag for luck in the new year. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have the Great Mosque of Khost, or simply the Khost Mosque. It is the largest mosque in the city of Khost in eastern Afghanistan. It can hold up to 2,000 worshippers during any prayer. And it is important to note that the city of Khost has a number of other smaller mosques which are also reported in the news as Khost mosques. So you want to make sure you're going to the right one. And coming in at number 1, we have the Red City, or Shahr-e-Zahak. The Red City is a historic city ruin in Bamiyan, Afghanistan, which was once home to 3,000 people. This city used to be a primary defense for the basin. The imposing ruins of Shahr-e-Zahak guard the entrance to the Bamiyan Valley, perched high on the cliffs at the confluence of the Bamiyan and Kalu rivers. Built by the Ghurids, they stand on foundations dating back to the 6th century. Genghis Khan's grandson was killed here, bringing down his murderous fury on the whole Bamiyan Valley as a result. The colloquial name Zohak is taken from the legendary serpent-haired king of Persian literature. The towers of the citadel are some of the most dramatic in Afghanistan. Made of mud brick on stone foundations, they wrap around the side of the cliff with geometric patterns built into their crenellations for decorations. The towers had no doors, but were accessed by ladders that the defenders pulled up behind them.